Hi, puppies. Is it going to say hi to your mommy? Is it going to say hi? Oh, good dogs. Good puppies. Good dogs. There's the bean footage. Fabulous, fabulous bit. Here goes a fabulous Wendel bean and a little Lucy bit. Oh, such a happy bean footage. Oh, he's taking his nap. He's a good Wendel. Yes, he's taking his nappy. Oh, big yawn, big yawn. Here's a picture of Christopher poring over something on the table. Lord knows what it is.
Thank you, moms, dads, friends, chairs, pianos, lights, cameras. Thank you all for being here. On behalf of International Bands of America, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity of working with you children this week. We worked very hard for these past 4 days, getting them to understand that the fundamental of music is thinking. Thinking. During the school year, we really don't get the time to talk about that. And so it's very important to think about those things right now. What we're trying to do is impress upon your children that reading and music is just like reading a book. And if they have the habit of reading one book a year, they're really not going to learn from reading. If they read one book a month, or one book a week, or one book a day, they're obviously going to learn and understand more from everything that they read. Same thing happens with music. We're trying to get them to understand from this week that reading music for comprehension is the same as reading the written word for comprehension. So, we read a lot of music. And today we're going to perform 10 of the pieces that we read. Now there may be mistakes, but that's okay, because there's nothing wrong with making a mistake. Mistakes are good, because you see, learning an instrument is just like learning to walk. And I don't think there's anybody in this room that jumped up when they were 2 months old and ran in a marathon. See, you have to fall down, you have to get up, and then you have to walk and fall down, then you have to bump into something to break something, and then you have to decide, well, maybe I should do it this way and that way. And that's what we did this week. We really ran, and we bumped into things, and then we crawled, and we fell down, and we stood back up. And so today we're learning to run. And it's a real important concept. Please remember that throughout the year. The only way your child's going to really benefit from being in music is to play it all the time. All the time. Okay, that little march that we played for you is a circus march. It's called Under the Big Top. Yeah, it's called Under the Big Top. Now we're going to go to Jolly Old England and play 2 English folk songs for you. It really gives me great pleasure to introduce to you a friend and a fine musician from the Ohio State University. We're lucky to have with us today Dr. John Woods. John is doing this because he really believes in what we are doing in respect to teaching kids about music. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce to you, right from the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio, Dr. John Woods. Now we're going to take a little walk with the clarinet section. This is called Clarinet Promenade. Kenyon has written many compositions for this age group of band students. We're about to play one of his probably most well-known. It's called Ceremonial Marching Chorale by John Kenyon. I'd like to ask Dr. Woods to come out once again. He will be conducting the remaining two tunes on our concert this afternoon. The first of these two comes to us from the 17th century, and it's something that I'm sure you will all recognize. It's called Trumpet Voluntary. It's a classic in the literature, and it represents a lot of work for the brass players. So we've asked one of our trumpet players to be featured as a soloist. So Yanni Bronis will come out and play the trumpet solo and Trumpet Voluntary.
Okay, for our final selection this evening, I thought I'd tell you a little story about this song. Back in 1965, most of the college bands at that point in time, their musical repertoire was pretty traditional music. It was playing marches, playing music from Broadway, playing music of the big band era. And so back in 1965, one of the members of the percussion section, who played a snare drum by the name of John Tagenhorst, made this arrangement, which was very popular at that time, of the rock song Hang On Sloopy. And he went to the marching band director at the time, who was Charlie Spahn, and said, you know, I'd like to play this, you know, a number with the band, would the band play it? And Charlie Spahn said, there's no way the Ohio State Band will ever play rock and roll music. Well, John Tagenhorst is a very persistent person. He's been quite a success, by the way, since he graduated, and although you might not know his name, when you watch television, one of the things he does today is he writes and arranges commercials for a living. He's in Chicago now, and he's written commercials for Sears, United Airlines, and McDonald's, and goes on and on, among a lot of other very substantial music. So John insisted that we play this number, and finally Charlie Spahn said, well, I'll tell you what, John, we'll do this number one time. And of course, the rest is history. If we don't play this 10 times a game, we hear about it. So what we did do with this song, we made the arrangement. We changed it just a little bit so it'll sound just like we do at Ohio Stadium at the end. So I think we'll enjoy now the state rock and roll song of Ohio, Hang On Sloopy.
Just a word before we leave. Now we have to do a little work. We have to clear the stage. But John and I have sort of a personal mission in our life, and that is to get people to realize how important attending live music concerts and listening to band music is for these young men and women. You have to understand that their brain works just like your computer does at home, because your computer was modeled after the brain. And if all these kids hear is over and over again, then that's all that's ever going to come out of them. So if you allow their musical diet just to be CDs that they buy MTV and everything else, then they really don't have any memory bank full of good music. So please, there are hundreds of wonderful professionally done CDs on the market of band music. And if you please buy that and make them listen to it. That's so important. Take them to live music concerts. Come to the high school concerts. Take them to Blossom, Canton Symphony. All these wonderful things are here, and they're not that expensive, and these students are certainly worth it, aren't they? Yes, they are. It's really been fun to work with them this week. Mr. Zartman was here as well. Mr. Zartman is not only a good friend, but a fine conductor, teacher, and musician. And he had a good time working with the kids. We look forward to continuation of this program in the summer. And we also look forward to these students in our academic year practicing every day. Now you sit there and you say, it's important. They need to read for pleasure, and they need to play their instrument for pleasure. Practicing is fun. Thanks very much. Bye.
The box. I think the dolphins are that big. I'm thinking of goldfishes.
Go Buckeyes.
Yeah, it's just tiny.